talk about squatting and having your knees past your toes. Or should your knees go past your toes? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I just did some squats, and if you're watching, you notice my knees went past my toes. Now, if you're coaching or you're an athlete and you're training the squat pattern, which everyone should be doing, whether you're a grandmother or a college recruit for basketball, you got to be training the squat pattern. The knees going past the toes does not matter. I repeat, the knees going past the toes does not matter. But, and this is a big but, it depends on what is going on in the rest of the body. So, I'm going to demonstrate a few squats. I want you to just watch the knees going past the toes, or traveling towards the toes, and then we'll discuss this a little bit more. So here's the first version of the squat I'm going to show you. Notice my knees are going towards the toes. Here's another version. Knees are going towards the toes. It's not past the toes. What's the difference? What's the difference that's going on in those two squats? So the knees are going towards or past the toes pretty much equally on both of them. The difference is what's going on in the rest of the body, mainly the hips. So in this version, the second version I did, you notice I'm mainly just bending my knees and my ankles. And what this does is puts a lot of stress, or puts all the load right through your knees, through your patellar tendon. But on the first version of the squat I did, my knees are still traveling quite far forward, but now the load is being shared by those big muscles of the hips. So I have the ankle, the knees, and the hips taking on that load of the movement. So now it becomes a much lesser stress on the knees, even though the knees go forward towards the toes, or probably even past the toes. So when you're performing this movement or you're coaching it, don't just look at the knees. You got to look at where the hips are, what the hips are doing, what the ankle is doing in relation to the knees. You can also look at the upper body, the trunk, but for now, if you just look at the hips in relation to the knees and the ankles, that will solve a lot of the confusion on, okay, my knees are going past my ankles, or the knees are going past my toes, this is a good